What's going on with some of these Durham report cases? Well, you got I guess this is Bill Prestiap, Assistant Director of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division. He's kind of a creepy looking guy, but Michael Sussmann's attorneys want FBI officials' notes nixed as evidence. Now, why specifically would they want that? What is it that the FBI knows when it comes to the Clintons and the Durham report and wiretaps with Trump during 2016 and during his presidency that they wouldn't want the court to be able to find out? I wonder. A former Clinton campaign attorney, Michael Sussmann's attorneys want notes recorded by two FBI officials they want them, prevented from being introduced as evidence when their client goes on trial for lying to the agency in September 2016 when he delivered debunked allegations regarding a secret server link between Trump organization and a Russian bank. A 46-page motion filed on April 15th, earlier in the past week. Attorneys Sean Berkowitz, Michael Bosworth, Natalie Hardwick Rao, and Catherine Rao of Latham Watkins LLP argues the notes are inadmissible, unreliable, triple hearsay. Oh my God, that's even farther than double hearsay, or even just regular hearsay, and unrelated to the charge against Sussmann. Sure thing. Special counsel John Durham has entered as evidence notes that are taken from Assistant FBI Director of Counterintelligence E. William Bill Prestiap, and then Deputy General Counsel Tricia Anderson, who both spoke to FBI General Counsel James Baker shortly after he met with Sussmann on September 19th, 2016, at the agency's headquarters in Washington, D.C. Sussmann is set to go on trial beginning May 16th in the U.S. District Court of Washington for claiming he was acting as a concerned citizen when he met with Baker in the role for Rodney Joffe, cybersecurity expert, whose firms had contracted with the Executive Office of the President to monitor DNS traffic, and for Hillary for America, Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign committee, which Sussmann's Washington, D.C. based law firm Perkins Coie represented. In their motions, Sussmann's attorneys argued that Durham himself has said in previous court statements that a jury will have to decide only whether the defendant knowingly and willfully made a materially false statement when meeting with Baker. Well, if the notes of the FBI agent shows and claims that the two people speaking with him had knowledge or facts of any of the goings-on of Sussmann or the case in general, that would seem to be at least somewhat important, wouldn't you think? So why would they want them dismissed? Maybe there's something damning on it. Maybe not. But obviously they're going to have their interpretation of this. Nothing more, nothing less, they wrote. We agree. And yet, throughout this case and the motion, the special counsel seeks to put other people, other conduct, and other issues on trial that have nothing to do with the narrow false statement crime the special counsel has actually brought against Mr. Sussmann. No, I think direct notes and information is pretty important unless you have the video evidence, or videotaped testimony, where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe the notes themselves are a bit superfluous and you don't quite need them, but why would you want them taken off the table if Michael Sussmann was a good boy who didn't do nothing? Well, maybe it's because the FBI is a little bit less than reliable and you'd want some tangible evidence, some actual ink on paper that purports to tell the complete story, because, again, more information from the Durham report just really... it's really damning for these alphabet agencies. Durham filing reveals CIA knew in early 2017. Early 2017. Remember when Trump was inaugurated, right? January of 2017. Data tying Trump to Russia was fake. Let me run that back one more time in case you weren't quite paying total attention to this. The CIA knew in early 2017 that information linking Trump and Russia together was fucking fugazi, eh? Trial of Hillary Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussmann approaches. Special counsel John Durham and Michael Sussmann's lawyers are arguing over what evidence can be admitted. As part of those arguments, Durham filed a routine response late April 15th, detailing why the evidence he's seeking to admit is both relevant and admissible. These back and forth filings are common in the weeks leading up to a federal trial, but the disclosures made by Durham are anything but routine. The most striking of these disclosures concerns data trails that Sussmann and his cohorts, including Tech Executive 1, Rodney Joffe, had supposedly uncovered between Trump and a Russian Alfa Bank. It was widely claimed that these data trails established a direct communication channel between Trump and the Russian government. Sussmann took the data to the FBI in September of 2016, hoping to trigger an investigation into Trump and his campaign. The existence of the FBI investigation would be used by then Clinton campaign as a media kill shot against Trump in the final weeks of his 2016 election. How well did that work out? Not great. The scheme didn't work as planned, and Trump went on to win the election. Thank God. But this setback didn't put on the brakes on the operation that has now turned into an effort to hobble Trump's presidency. In February of 2017, after Trump was inaugurated, Sussmann took the same data trails to the CIA. Well then, you think that they should have better vetting than just the stupid Federal Bureau of Investigations, right? They just have the evidence, and they got to, implement that I in the FBI, and it doesn't stand for integrity, it stands for investigation after all. So what would the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, be able to do with the same information? Wouldn't you think that they'd be able to look at it and see if there's anything funny about that? Well, looks like they did. And they knew there was nothing to it. In 2017, Durham has now disclosed that the CIA immediately knew that both data trails were fake, finding that there was not technically plausible, that they didn't withstand technical scrutiny, and that they contained gaps, that they conflicted with themselves, and that they were user-created and not machine or tool-generated. The data provided by Sussmann consisted of alleged internet lookups between Trump Organization and Alfa Bank, as well as alleged use of Russian-made Yodaphone in Trump's vicinity at Trump Tower, near a Trump interview in Michigan, and near the White House after he was elected president. The fact that the phone data was highly questionable was obvious from the start. Sussmann alleged that there were only a dozen such phones in the United States, claiming that they weren't publicly available, but were sometimes gifted by Russian government officials. Isn't that a big old red flag to begin with? However, the information was false. Yodaphones were officially launched in the United States in 2014, and as Durham notes, between 14 and 17, there were millions of lookups for Yodaphones that originated in the United States based on internet addresses. No, it's just the secret communication devices of Russian oligarchs, and Trump specifically, he's a bad guy. The sheer number of Yodaphone lookups has led to some speculate that Sussmann and other Clinton operatives might have cherry-picked data that make those communications look like something they weren't. No! In other words, that there was real data, but it is being misrepresented by Sussmann. Proof of the allegation would have been bad enough, but Durham has now revealed that the CIA determined that the data was in fact user-created. It was fabricated. All of this is a fucking lie, dude. And remember, we're not even at the bottom of this shit, okay? The Durham report isn't done, it isn't complete, but what's being leaked out about this? It really says a lot about the entire apparatus, okay? The deep state itself. They knew all of this shit was dog shit, okay? And yet they still went forward with the Mueller report, the Mueller probe, okay? All about Russia, Russia, Russia. Oh my God, Trump's in bed with Russia. He's a Putin puppet. Meanwhile, all of the evidence that was there, it just didn't show anything. I wonder why the media is still so full press against Russia, especially when it comes to their conflict with Ukraine, who, if you remember, what was the subject of Trump's first legitimate impeachment, right? Business dealings with Ukraine. Now, isn't this shit all coming full circle? Oh, we're going to be in for a couple of wild years after the midterms. You fucking wait for it. But with all that said, we got another alphabet agency. I'll give you a little bit of a heads up as to what's coming up next. We got another alphabet agency launching an investigation into a highly suspicious product that could be making your kids sick. So tune in to 11 for more information on that. Not just kidding, it'll be in a few minutes anyways, as always. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.